building legs that win ultramarathons is very challenging. But if you want to avoid having toothpicks for legs and instead build beasts that can endure 100 miles, following these important tips is a great place to start. Good morning, beasts. It's about 7 in the morning, and we are doing 15 miles on the Appalachian Trail. And with my 100-mile goal coming up in about 3.5 weeks from now, I've had to build 100-mile trail legs to hopefully finish this race. And a huge piece of my training that allows my legs to grow into these absolute units that I'm trying to turn them into is stacking up miles out on the trails. The key word in 100-mile trail legs is 100 miles, which is a lot of miles. And in order to build 100-mile legs, you gotta get out on the trails and slowly increase your mileage. Hopefully the rain holds off, because let's say your goal is the 100-mile ultramarathon. Your body needs to be able to handle heavy loads, and practicing this by hitting these heavy loads out on the trails is absolutely necessary if you want to build ultra enduring legs. But I believe a great way to approach this is to ramp up your volume by no more than 10% a week, and your legs will slowly become beasts over time. Alright, beast, 7.5 miles in. I got 7.5 miles home now, and by no means have I perfected the training program or anything like that yet. But throughout my training, I have cut time off my splits, especially my splits in the trails, and have increased the durability and strength of my legs for sure through not just logging the miles, but making sure I log them with elevation. Elevation training for me has completely skyrocketed my growth as a trail runner over the past year, and I believe that the more elevation I push myself through, the better I get on the trails. My hands are freezing. Elevation training doesn't just make you stronger in an extremely functional way, but it gives you the stimulus that will prepare you when race day comes. But understanding the science behind why elevation training is so important will help make you a better runner. Welcome back to Science with Slook. So I did some more research on behind the scenes of elevation training, and some of the craziest things that I found is that running downhill does 2 to 3 times more damage to your muscle, which you have to get used to for race day. I learned that uphill training can literally improve your running form while it builds strength in pretty much your whole leg. And basically what I figured out, if you don't do this specific type of training when it comes to race day, your legs will be a lot weaker than you probably need them to complete an ultramarathon. I don't have an exact protocol for uphill training, but if you have a heavy elevation race coming up, I think a good rule of thumb to go by is to hit 1 elevation long run at least once a week. Alright, beasts, we are on our way to the gym right now, and I'm feeling meh about this leg day, which some days I'm hyped, some days I'm not. Today should be average though. But I do know that trying to get 100-mile legs is not just about running as many miles as possible on as steep of hills as possible, but also training really hard at the gym. My cousin in the military told me that during his ruck training, the skinnier guys will beat all the fast guys until it becomes time for the hill, where the stronger guys pull ahead. And I would boil this down to the strength in their legs. If you strip it down to their core, ultras mostly aren't limited by your lungs, they're limited by your legs holding up for hours. And strength training is what keeps them from falling apart. So the stronger we can make our legs simply by lifting heavy in the gym, the better chances we can crush our race on race day. Preventing injuries for me is probably the topic that I'm the least well versed about, because it's kind of like, let's just get out there and train. So instead of telling you what I do, which is stretching 3 times a week and strength training, which helps injury prevention, I did some research on what the pros do to keep their legs mobile and injury free. Many people don't quit because their mind goes, they quit because of injuries. So if you want to recover like the pros, here's what you could do. The pros seem like they actually do some activation before their runs. I gotta start doing that. They do leg swings, lunge twists, hip circles, just to get warm and avoid injury. But one of the most important things that they do is not to overdo their training by keeping 80% of their runs at a truly easy pace. This makes sure they don't overdo it, which will definitely hurt your performance and increase injury risk. For the most part, I've followed the elevation training, the keep on improving my distances. I've always strength trained for like a couple of years, and my stretching and mobility actually has been on point. And the results that my body is experiencing from having these strong legs isn't just helping my health, but my performance out on the trails. When you train your legs properly, your body can literally pump more blood and oxygen to places where it needs to go, which means you will perform better out on the trails. And you do need to prepare for
the 200,000 steps you'll take over an ultra, so giving it that hard stimulus outside of your comfort zone is what will prepare you to crush your ultra and cause each step out on the trails to literally take less energy as your body becomes more efficient. But training this way doesn't only physically make you adapt, but definitely, at least for me, adding up miles, adding up elevation, and strength training hard definitely give me that mental edge to push through the runs that I don't want to get me to the large 100-mile goal that I set out to achieve. Yeah, building 100-mile legs will definitely take runs that you don't want to do. But just to recap, if you want to build 100-mile legs, make sure you slowly ramp up your mileage by about 5 to 10% a week, train elevation at a minimum once a week, hit legs and hit them hard, and don't overtrain to avoid injury. Your body will be right on track to hearing the screams of the crowds as you rip through the bright red tape of the finish line on race day when you absolutely crush your goals. The race I've been training to conquer is coming up in 21 days, so if you're interested to see how my first 100-miler goes, make sure to follow along to see those results.